Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 1st May 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Prime Minister BROWNE criticizes U.S.'s action against Cuba, Venezuela and Nicaragua. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Antigua's Prime Minister Gaston Browne has restated his call for an end to punitive measures by the United States against 3 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. The head of government was speaking during the 23rd summit of the Bolivarian Alliance for the People of Our Americas, People's Trade Treaty ALBA TCP, in the Venezuelan capital Caracas on Wednesday. Garfield Burford of ABS News reports.
Prime Minister Honorable Gaston Browne receiving a warm welcome on the red carpet from Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro Moros. He was among heads of state and government of ALBA TCP's 10 members who converged on the Miraflores Palace for the 23rd summit. After a private meeting, it was on to the public engagements, and when Prime Minister Browne addressed the meeting, he provided the geopolitical context for the event.
Colleagues, we live in a very dynamic age, and perhaps a very dangerous one too, in which powerful military nations of the global north are seeking to consolidate and to wield authority to further enhance control over defenseless nations. It means, therefore, that ALBA has to continue to strengthen its solidarity.
Not for the first time, the Prime Minister is resolute that the United States should reverse actions which he says are hurting economies and ordinary people of some of ALBA's member states. He wants Cuba to be removed from the U.S.'s list of state sponsors of terrorism, as well as the lifting of the decades-old embargo on the Caribbean island.
And in essence, what they're doing there, they're literally hurting innocent people, literally perpetuating a cycle of poverty, not allowing the Cuban government to have the leverage to bring full prosperity to its people. And again, we continue to call for that unjust embargo to be brought to an end.
Prime Minister Browne is also restating the condemnation of the unilateral measures on Venezuela and Nicaragua by the United States. Antigua and Barbuda and these 3 states are among the 10 members of the alliance. Prime Minister Browne says he's also concerned about the situation in Haiti, where ordinary citizens are suffering due to the lack of proper governance, security, and peace. He also raises concern about the plight of the people of Palestine, who he says are being massacred on a daily basis and have been uprooted from their territory.
I also endorse the recommendation for Palestine to be recognized at the United Nations as a full state.
Prime Minister Browne says Antigua and Barbuda is proud to be a member of ALBA, which was started in 2004 by the late former presidents of Venezuela and Cuba, Hugo Chavez Frias and Fidel Castro Ruz. But it is not just geopolitical and geostrategic issues the Prime Minister raises. He also wants the alliance to increase functional cooperation on key issues such as trade, investment, and food sovereignty. The Prime Minister extends a special invitation to ALBA leaders to attend the 4th Conference on Small Island Developing States in Antigua and Barbuda next month.
This will be a very important conference, as Antigua and Barbuda will take the lead on assisting small island states globally in achieving the SDGs. Evidently, small island states have also had to deal with a number of challenges, especially the issue of climate change, and even the consequences of the senseless conflicts that have arisen.
LIAT 2020 is on track to take to the skies next month. Again, ABS's Garfield Burford reports.
Information Minister Honourable Melford Nicholas provided the update during Thursday morning's post-cabinet media briefing.
I would say it is fair to expect before the end of May, and certainly during the month of June, that LEAT will be in disguise. LEAT 2020 will be in disguise. I can't at this stage predict what routes, but I imagine they will start with the more profitable routes. One of the sidebar development that is taking place is that at least one other OECS country has expressed a positive interest in being able to come on board.
Meanwhile, Minister Nicholas also explains that a previous issue has been resolved regarding the landing gear on the aircraft used for the recent demonstration flights.
There are requirements after a certain amount of time that various aspects of an airworthy aircraft had to go into service and had to be repaired, if not replaced. The time had come for, on the aircraft that would have been airworthy, for the landing gear to be changed, and certainly for the other aircraft, the same would have been true. Again, there were some vagaries with respect to the supply chain, and I believe under the stewardship of the interim chairman, Ambassador Davin Joseph, they moved swiftly and acquired the replacement landing gear.
The minister provides a crucial explanation about the Air Operator's Certificate, or AOC, which is said to be received by the carrier soon. It will be granted by ECA on the ATRs, such as the one that LEAT has leased and which was used for the demonstration flights.
It can only do so at the level where it has the approvals or the regulatory effectiveness of being able to approve the likes of the ATRs, and that is what it has training and the capacity to provide approvals for. The AGRs, the EJRs are part of wet lease arrangements that they can be added to the fleet once the AOC and the commercial operations have commenced.
Cabinet has also agreed to allow LEAT 2020 to conduct low-cost charter flights to transport residents from the mainland to the sister isle for Caribana festivities. This is expected to depend on the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority's approval of the aircraft's use of the new Barbuda runway, since only that runway can accommodate the LEAT planes. It will also depend on the carrier receiving an Air Operator's Certificate, or AOC, in time for the Caribana festivities next month. Cabinet has approved $75,000 to fund those festivities on the sister isle of Barbuda.
Trinidad and Tobago's Finance Minister Colm Imbert is refuting claims that the Ministry of Finance or himself backdated the amended public accounts to January 31st, 2024 to cover a mistake.
Responding to the allegation made by the Auditor General through a legal letter from Freedom Law Chambers, Minister Imbert said, as Minister of Finance, he is not involved in the preparation, declaration, and certification of national accounts. In the legal letter, Minister Imbert said it was alleged that the Auditor General received two sets of public accounts, the original and amended public accounts for financial year 2023, with a statement of declaration and certification dated January 31st, 2024. But Mr. Imbert said he was sent a copy of the declaration and certification submitted by ministry officials to the Auditor General, which had a totally different date.
If the document shown to me is authentic, and the true date on the statement of declaration and certification of the amended public accounts for the financial year 2023 submitted by the ministry officials is in fact April 16, 2024 and not January 31st, 2024, then a blatant untruth has been put into the public domain. This matter now requires a full independent investigation, the findings of which will be reported to the Public Service Commission and any other relevant office holder for their review and whatever action these independent institutions deem appropriate. Thank you.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The University of the West Indies, UWI, has appointed Doddridge D. Miller as its 7th Chancellor, the highest office holder in the University of the West Indies system.
Dr. Miller, a graduate of the UWI, is a Caribbean luminary with over 30 years of leadership experience in the banking, insurance, and financial services sectors. He was the group president and CEO of Sagicor Financial Company for more than 2 decades until he retired in March 2023. Now formerly Chancellor-designate, Dr. Miller is expected to serve a 7-year term beginning August 1st, 2024. He will succeed Robert Bermudez, who has served as Chancellor since 2017.
The Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of National Security in Trinidad and Tobago are engaged in a draft policy to revise the laws regarding the oversight and management of firearm dealers in Trinidad and Tobago. Sunil Lala of TTT News reports.
National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines said government will take steps to tighten the laws for the oversight and management of firearm dealers in the country. From 2018 to 2023, he said 11 new dealers were approved to be firearm dealers, with 6 approved in 2020. Responding to a question in the lower house, he said there is a need to review the current laws for oversight, noting one such incident where the records of a dealer could not be presented.
When the police pressed on one of the dealers who sued the police in relation to relevant matters or related matters, he indicated that his book or books were lost for about 3 years. When asked, did you report it? The answer was no.
This, he said, could have had serious implications for national security.
Yes. Very, very serious issues of national security have arisen. There seem to have been a kind of madness and wildness and mayhem in respect of the importation, the grant, the issuance of new licenses to new firearm dealers. In fact, it was Mr. John who described the thing as a well-oiled, white-collar criminal enterprise conducted under the nose of the then Commissioner of Police.
Minister Hines noted that several of these instances involving firearm dealers are the subject of investigations.
It may not be that the books were not available. It may be that they were not produced and some kind of explanation of that along that line was given. Because what we saw in those years, in my view, the subject of 3 investigations by the state, one by the Police Service Commission and 2 others commissioned by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, upon which a judge is on record as saying that it would have been a failure on the part of the Prime Minister and the government not to have acted in the face of the information that those investigations yielded.
He assured that both the AG's office and the National Security Ministry are devising a draft policy with new elements coming on board for the oversight of those who sell legal firearms. Sonolala, TTT News.
CARICOM Cricket Conference ended on Friday last in Trinidad and Tobago. More in the CVM News item with Angela Melville.
This event is already a success, I will say, because what it really was meant to do was to give an opportunity to CARICOM Caribbean stakeholders in West Indies cricket to express themselves at a forum where those expressions can become part of something to follow up.
A leading proponent of governance reform in the regional body, Rowley also serves as chairman of the CARICOM Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on Cricket, and the staging of the conference was one of the decisions arising from the 46th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM, held in Guyana last February.
For the last few years at CARICOM, the heads of government were feeling this pressure of wanting to do something about this super delayed turnaround in West Indies cricket. And we've come to the conclusion that we need to confront the elephant in the room. And I think that is what this conference was meant to do. Bring all the stakeholders together so that their facets and their vantage points could be expressed to everybody else.
And for West Indies cricket to move forward?
A lot of the conversation in the last 48 hours had to do with a governance structure which obviously does not appear to be the best for the delivery that we anticipate. We expect that the response to that in some quarters will be change it elsewhere, but don't change it by me. Have someone else do it, but I won't be doing it. That is not going to get us anywhere.
Rowley remains hopeful about the future of West Indies cricket.
Let me just end this press conference on borrowing a bit from Winston Churchill, when he said, this is not the beginning of the end, but more the end of the beginning. We trust that as we go forward, we can impact on the situation by working collaboratively and disruptively as required.
Angela Melville, CVM Sports.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.